Okay, so as you guys can tell by the title, in this video, we're going to be talking about why Garou could surpass Boros in his fight against Saitama currently in the manga. Now, of course, if you guys have noticed, I haven't been uploading as much on my channel, and that's because I've been working on a huge video that's probably going to be releasing in like 2 or 3 weeks, so be ready for that. I've made a whole community post about it, so if you want to, I guess, read what I had to say, then you can go check that out. It's the latest community post on my channel currently. But anyway, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, because if you can't already tell, I post a lot of One Punch Man content, and if you like One Punch Man, then this place is definitely for you. And if you don't want to subscribe, then don't subscribe. But anyway, let's just get into the video, because it's quite a lot to talk about when talking about if Garou could surpass Boros, how, in his current state against Saitama. So starting off with, I guess, just comparing these two and how they did against Saitama. Now, don't get me wrong, I know, Garou hasn't finished his fight against Saitama, and I'm guessing his final form is coming pretty soon. I'd say maybe he has maybe 1 or 2 more transformations until we see his final form, and till we technically or basically get the proper fight with Saitama versus Garou. I'm pretty sure right now is kind of like the build up for the serious fight they're about to have once Garou gets to his final form. Now, when comparing these two in terms of their fighting style, of course Garou and Boros, we can pretty much deduce that Garou is a lot more smart in the way he fights compared to Boros. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. So if you guys have been, keeping a keen eye on the Garou versus Saitama fight, you can tell that Garou has been dodging, he's been redirecting, he's been blocking, and he's been counterattacking a lot of Saitama's punches and attacks. But if we look at Boros on the other hand, Boros is like, he's the complete opposite. Boros is straight up just a berserker. He just doesn't dodge. All he does is go straight at his opponent and just attacks with his full power. And of course, we see that didn't necessarily go bad for him in his fight against Saitama, but it could have gone a lot better for him if he just used the dodge button. It's like playing Elden Ring, but just not dodging. Like, it would take you like years to complete, because the bosses are just far too strong for you not to dodge. And that's basically like Boros. Imagine Boros facing Melena in Elden Ring without actually using a dodge, but you guys get what I mean. But anyway, as I was saying before, Boros is a berserker and Garou is a lot more of a technique user, and those two things are pretty much the things that distinguishes these two and how well they are going to do against Saitama. And you guys kind of already know where I'm going with this video, because if Garou is dodging and counterattacking and redirecting all of Saitama's punches, technically he is doing better than Boros in terms of, I guess, keeping up with Saitama's attacks, because we know that Boros in his fight against Saitama really had to tank many of Saitama's attacks, which didn't go too well for him. If not for Boros being as strong as he was, I'm pretty sure he would have been out of the battle in many ways other monsters have been against Saitama. So, Boros had his armored form, his released form, and his meteoric form. And as for Garou, we know he has a lot more transformations, but we know that base Garou was a lot weaker than base Boros, so Garou needed those transformations to get to where he is now, or to get to even relative to where Boros is in his, I guess, released form. Because right now, I'd say Garou is probably around released Boros strength. I'm sure he will get to meteoric once he gets to his final form, well, close to meteoric at least. But for now, I don't think he's meteoric as for now anyway. But moving on, Garou could surpass Boros due to the fact that he uses his techniques a lot better and uses the ability to actually dodge a lot better than Boros. Because if we're really coming down to, I guess, if we're being specific and being a bit, if we're kind of, I guess, playing devil's advocate here for Garou, because we know that currently many people would say Garou is not doing as well as Boros in his fight against Saitama, which is fair to say. But if we were to look at things from a different different perspective, we can say that Garou is actually doing better than Boros in the aspect of actually, you know, dodging and actually, I guess, receiving less damage than needed, because we know that Boros took a lot more damage than he really needed to in his fight against Saitama. Because as I said earlier, if Boros actually dodged, he could have done a lot better in his fight against Saitama, maybe even do more damage than he did. But of course, you know, that's not even a possibility anymore. Boros is dead, but we know that Garou can, and we know that Garou is a lot more of a smarter fighter, and that pretty much is my basis for why I think Garou could surpass Boros, not in strength, but in terms of how well he does against Saitama. Well, again, there's many different factors, because right now we know that Saitama has technically said that he's not going to be going full on, you know, killing intent mode against Garou, which I guess kind of ruins the whole fight in general, in my opinion. But I feel like there could be another statement that, you know, Saitama could say that maybe changes this. You know, Saitama, once Garou gets to his final form, could be like, you know, it's time to get serious or something, or, you know, maybe he says like, I don't know, I'm gonna get serious on you, I guess, something like that, because I guess Saitama could say that once Garou gets to a form that is kind of similar to Boros in his meteoric form. And we know that, you know, Saitama had to use a serious punch against, you know, meteoric Boros, so I mean, he'll probably have to do the same against, you know, the last form of Garou. I know it's not you know, it's not canonical, but I'm pretty sure the manga could change many different things and maybe just add in a serious punch here just to, you know, spice things up, because we know that we haven't seen the serious table flip, we haven't seen the, you know, the serious headbutt, etc, etc. So, you know, once we get those, we could just get an addition of a serious punch in there to just make things a lot more epic and make things a lot more, you know, chaotic and a lot more hype. That's something I feel like Murata would do, and I'm pretty sure one would allow that. But if I was to conclude this whole video, I genuinely predict that Garou probably won't be stronger than Boros, but will do better in his fight and push Saitama further than Boros. And, you know, if you guys have been paying attention to what I've been saying in this video, the reason I feel like Garou is going to do that is because he is going to last longer than Boros in his fight against Saitama. And even though he's not stronger, he's pretty much relative. I'm sure once he gets to his final form, he's going to be relative to meteoric Boros. Probably not as strong, probably not stronger, but maybe just a little less strong. Maybe somewhere in the middle of released and meteoric. And if that form of Garou can keep going at Saitama in the way that he's been going so far, I'm pretty sure he can push Saitama further than Boros just through the sheer length of the fight. As I said before, just to conclude again, he is going to last longer than Boros in his fight against Saitama. That's pretty much the basis of this entire video. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. This video might seem a bit chaotic, a bit, you know, all over the place, but, you know, I just kind of wanted to make this video. I wasn't originally going to make this video, but I just had an idea and I was like, you know, yeah, let me just make this because it seems pretty interesting. But apart from that, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And apart from that, I'll see you in my next video.